My name is Eilidh Doyle. I am a retired track and field athlete, predominantly a 400 metre hurdler. A full-time athletics career for about over a decade and then retired officially back in 2021, although my last race was technically not until 2019. I think one of my highlights was the 2014 Commonwealth Games being in Glasgow. I think my favourite moment probably in my whole career was doing the lap of honour at Hampden Park. I think being able to celebrate winning the medal but have such a massive home support, have all my family and friends there in the crowd as well. Like that's the most actual physical support I've had at championships. Probably my best performance was becoming European champion in 2014. That was a big year for me off the back of the Commonwealth Games. It's a great life, you know, being able to kind of travel around and do what you love is great. It's particularly when you're in shape and you're running well. I think the highs just come with, you know, when you're running really well and you're just full of confidence and you're stepping on the track and you're either running PBs or you're just, you know, nailing your races. For me, there was no better feeling than crossing the line knowing I just left it out there, like you've nothing left to cross the line and you know you've had a really good performance. Regardless of times or positions, I think just that feeling of crossing the line and having given it everything, that was always a real high for me. Sometimes you can train really, really, really hard and not get the result that you think you deserve, but everybody trains really hard and everybody wants those results, so I think that can be the hard thing. Travelling alone all the time, that can sometimes be harder when the races don't go well. You sometimes just need somebody to turn to and talk to, so those highs always did outweigh the lows in my opinion. It's really funny, like in no way is it the same or do I feel like the same athlete like in 2014, but actually being on this track, it's quite a humid day and there's like a smell that tracks give off. And when I was running around there, I actually just had a little smile to myself because I was getting a smell that took me right back to 2014 and being on that track, and it was nice because it was I remember that, but it also gave me the little butterflies in the tummy to maybe think I'm not quite in that shape to go and perform like I did back then. But in 2019, I competed in the indoor season and then I took a year off to have a baby, and I was pregnant with my first son, Campbell, at the time. 2020, my plan was to come back and come back after having Campbell and compete at the Olympics. And I think if I was being realistic, that was going to be probably my last hurrah, if you like. It was going to be a case of coming back, almost showing my baby what it is that I do and going and doing one more Olympics and making my third Olympics. And that was kind of my target. And then COVID hit. And everybody stopped, nobody really knew what was happening. And for me, it was kind of brilliant. I've got another chance. The Olympics have been postponed for a year. I've got a whole year now to get back and be ready. I think just during that time, and I think probably a lot of people were the same, my motivation was just up and down and up and down. And literally it was just one day I was training at Grangemouth and I turned to Brian, who is my husband but is my coach as well at the time. And I just said to him, I think I'm done. I think I've had enough now. And his response was, oh, thank God you've got there. Thank God you've realised. He could see the motivation was not quite there, the determination, the drive to train wasn't quite there, but he couldn't tell me that it was time to call it a day. I had to kind of get there myself, and I probably got there a little bit slower than I might have done. I think becoming a mum was it was an easier way to transition out of the sport. Athletics took up a lot of my life, it was what I did every day. And even when I was at the track, I was constantly sort of thinking about, making sure I was doing everything right to be the best athlete. Balancing and planning life around somebody else now and not just kind of geared around me, which a lot of our life had been previous to that, because like I say, Brian was my coach and it was all about, my athletics career. A couple of years later, we had Lewis, who came along as well, and my second son. They definitely, fill a void. I love being a mum. It's hard. It is, I don't know what's harder, training for an Olympics or being a mum of two boys. It is definitely one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. Write your name. was a PE teacher before I was a full-time athlete, and even when I was still competing, I was sort of exploring different avenues just to kind of see what was out there. My career as an athlete, I think I learned a lot and I experienced a lot, and it was trying to work out what did I learn and where would that be useful, once being an athlete was over. I think that's kind of where I'm useful in all my roles, because it's somebody who's been there and done that who can give an athlete's perspective on it. I'm a member of the board of Scottish Athletics, been working with various coaches across the country. As an athlete, you're very much in your own bubble. Now that I'm out of that world, it's nice to kind of understand what's going on in the rest of athletics and getting a bit of a perspective from the coaches that are working within Scotland at the moment. I'm also working for Youth Sport Trust, which is a charity. One of the main projects I'm doing just now is a programme called Set for Success. You work with young people, do various activities with them, do some work with them to sort of draw out those skill sets that they have that they maybe don't know that they have. And then finally, I've just started a new role with Edinburgh University. Part of the university's aims is to set up performance hubs. My role is more as a sort of mentor to, be that connection between the athletes and the performance team to make sure the athletes know what's there available, make sure they have what they need, make sure the performance team know what the athletes need, and there's a sort of connection between the two. So lots of different projects, but lots of really exciting ones and lots that I'm really passionate about as well. With my boys in particular, I see the sort of competitiveness in them. And I don't necessarily know if that is from me or from my husband, because he was really competitive as well when he was an athlete. I find it really interesting now that you sort of look at these behaviours now and you think, are they showing signs of potential? They might, go on and be a sports person or, just have those traits. So definitely is a sort of a full circle kind of moment as well. When it comes to a family life and 2 kids and a dog and a husband, it can be very chaotic. And so you have to do what works for you, and it's not that sort of one rule fits all. And I would always just say, you can't control what's going on around you, but you can always control how you react to it. Just understanding this is what we're in just now, and we'll deal with it how we can deal with it. What's the most proactive way of dealing with the situation? Success can look in different ways, but for me, as long as my boys are happy and healthy, and as long as my family are happy and healthy, then that is definitely success for me. There's lots of us out there. There's lots of athletes that have, gone to so many championships and had success or not had success, but equally have really important life skills and lessons and experiences that they can share with others. We can use our athletes that are coming to retirement or are retired and trying to tell their stories and learn about their journeys and what they've experienced and share for the next generation as well.